Okay, well, we are on the verge of a lovely election here in America.
Uh-huh.
What do you want to talk about today? I mean, I think he clinches this pretty soon, another half hour to an hour.
Yeah, isn't he like two, three votes away?
Yeah, I mean, never underestimate racism and misogyny. I mean, dude, I don't even know what to say on this one because truthfully, I thought the Taylor Swift effect would come in and propel her through. I live in Oklahoma, so I've been living in what other people get to experience here pretty soon. But oh well, it's where we are, man.
Do you know the scary part is that even the popular vote is kind of toward him.
Right. Because I thought she'd win by 18 million. Even if she didn't win president, I thought she'd win the popular vote. I don't I don't have I mean I'm not speechless. I
Hmm.
woke up yesterday and a whole bunch of people had anxiety and all this other stuff, and I was perfectly calm. And I guess what's kind of sad is either way, I'm okay. I mean, I come down, I open my business, and I'm already in a super red state, so my life doesn't really change.
Hmm.
Um, but we're going to see women turn on men here for reelecting this guy.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
probably has to happen at some point.
so did I ever tell you this story? So I'm flying back from the Czech Republic after dropping my kid off, who's going to college over there. Supposedly, I think what he ended up doing was DJing and booking ski trips for people, but God bless him. Um,
Uh-huh.
and there was this kind of annoying guy that sat next to me, and he was from I can't remember whether it was Denmark or Sweden, but one or the other. He was an American that was working over there with one of the charity agencies,
Hmm.
and this was probably 4 years ago. I think I'm pretty accurate. And his whole talk was on that he didn't understand why women didn't need men anymore, and he hated it. And they just didn't want anything to do with men. And what I really wanted to say is they didn't want anything to do with you. They still want something to do with this 10% of men that's the ideal candidate, supposedly. But the other 90, hell, I don't know who voted for him because the popular vote is high. He did not.
Hmm.
I, he may win the popular vote. I'm not sure at the tail end of this. And if that's the case, a lot of women voted for him. So you don't just get to blame this one on men. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but
yeah, it actually
whew,
means that more than 50% of women actually voted his way.
right, yeah. And what's weird is, I in the long run would be curious of what they were thinking, just because I'm in the middle of living this dystopian nightmare of Project 2025 already here,
Hmm.
and I don't. But maybe they just couldn't vote for a Blasian female. I mean, I, it's probably that simple. Let's be honest. It's probably that simple.
Somebody actually asked me about that and whether it was just too much of too many ethnicities in one lady.
Yeah.
That was too much for people to take.
Well, I mean, so you get this blubbering, overaged, overdone. I mean, did you see the Fox News commentary with him getting into the garbage truck
Nuh-uh.
where he literally was freezing and his hand was stuck and he couldn't grab the handle? I mean, and they actually talked about it openly and said he needs to have, we need to see medical records, all this other stuff, which told me that internal polling was telling me he was done because he's now going to go attack him, as we all know. God forbid. But so I'm assuming cognitive demise and everything else. So we're going to have to tolerate that for about a year before he goes off. But then we get that other loser.
JD Vance, yeah, next in line.
Dude, that guy's a freaking weirdo. So either way, you guys got an Indian going into the White House or the vice president's house.
Oh God, is there any
How's it?
possibility? I don't think so, right? What is left?
What?
Arizona. I mean,
No, there's no winning. I mean, this is
no.
this is done. The only people who still think she's going to win gave her a few $1 million, and they're holding out. Um, I I mean, I don't. I mean, it's 266 to 219. I literally have it on the background over there because I
No.
didn't. I mean, I just woke up 30 minutes ago, and I'm like, well, I mean, when I went home, I was like, well, none of the West Coast has come in, and she
Hmm.
didn't jump that much, and that's her place.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that she didn't get the inner city vote. And as a Blasian female,
Yeah.
maybe we overestimated that or something. I don't know. You know, man, dude, I'm used to being Democrat down here. It's difficult.
Mhm.
And they're gonna have the House and the Senate now, so shit's gonna roll.
Oh yeah, all the shit we've been talking about for almost a year in Project 2025 is all gonna
Right.
fall out. The weird thing
Yeah.
was, Sean, there were so many people here who told me that Trump would win. Y'all just don't
Look,
know. And I was like,
I
no.
the people who would say he was gonna win here were all driving like a van and they were 50 and didn't have any money.
Hmm.
I mean, literally. And so you go, well, okay, that's not who I'm going to take on it. Hey man, I had hoped we were going to change here, but evidently we needed the old white guy to run against the old white guy.
But do you know the most fascinating thing about this? Like, the crypto bros were all right.
Yeah.
Because last night I got a text from a bunch of them saying that, hey, move money into Bitcoin, because if Trump wins,
Yeah.
it's going to shoot up. And it did. It's
Yeah.
up like 20, 30% or something from
Right.
this morning.
Or, you know, it could have gone the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we had this car company called Canoe that came in here and government gave them a bunch of money and subsidies, all this other shit. And they're dropping, they're going to get off the stock line. Yeah, there you go. I I don't know. You know, here's the thing, and I don't know how to say this without sounding like a complete douchebag. I'm not sure this affects my life. All the stuff I work for other people's lives,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, does it really affect mine? What it does is I look around and go, all you fuckers voted for him.
Yeah,
that's
that's the one thing, right? Like,
right. That's the scary part is you know, that oof, man. But you know, fear sells. If you're
mm-hmm.
going to run on fear, it works. If you're going to run on hope, it has not worked. The only time it worked was with Obama, and that's because John McCain refused to do all the fear stuff.
Yeah.
So you know you gotta I mean, whether you like it or not. If you're going to wrestle with a pig, you're going to get dirty and mucky, and they like it. And so anyway, I guess the curiosity for me is in 10 years, can we get the Trump family out of the White House? Because my guess is no, because they have set this up to be a dynasty if they won. This isn't, you know, because he doesn't really care what policy is or anything. It doesn't affect him.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect him. It doesn't affect his kids. So he'll turn that back over to the Christian nationalists. But I mean, man, I wish people understood how real this is.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know, I don't want to sound like a paranoid nutcase because once again, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
But so they did knock off one of our Supreme Court justices here on this fight over St. Isidore's charter
mm-hmm.
school, you know, by the Supreme Court voting it down. They put in millions of dollars to get rid of our Supreme Court justices. Two of them were able to stay by just a little bit, and then one lost by just a little bit. Isn't that crazy?
Oh wow, wait.
We're going somewhere.
The way, I mean, I don't know. Like, I honestly do not know. Like, sitting away from it, looking as an outsider, it still doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, it makes no sense to me.
Does this mean that everybody
that
we know ever talked to just voted Trump?
Yes.
The people we work with and everything.
I think that's fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, here's the best thing I can tell you on all of this, and it's not going to comfort anybody or anything else. Grocery store prices are up, wages are down. How do you think a billionaire is going to solve your problems? You don't want unions, but yet you want the benefits of unions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, factually, that's the deal. In order to have higher labor prices, the way companies work, is that's why you unionize. So JBS,
well, he has fucking Elon Musk on this task.
Yeah, that's going to work out because that guy's sane as a jailbird. I mean, it's not Elon Musk busted his union at his car company.
Yeah,
fired everybody. Right. So
yeah, and what is the legal? What is the? I mean, why are people so pro him when they know he's an immigrant, having that much influence on government because he's rich?
Everybody wants to be rich in America, or everybody, here's what it really is. Everybody thinks they're going to be rich sooner or later, so they want taxes to be low for when they get there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. We are a country full of hopeful people that just voted to be not hopeful. And if you're voting for rich, and there's nothing personal against rich people, they're doing their thing. Their job is not to give you money.
Yeah.
Their job is to keep their own money. And so to think that that specific type of a person is going to help you means you don't know any rich people, is what that tells me.
Yeah.
And yes, there are the occasional love family members here in Oklahoma that are worth billions and billions of dollars that do great charitable stuff and everything else. Yeah, that's pretty rare.
The funny part is, I was wondering about this as to how many people who were going to vote for Biden switched or didn't vote at all because she showed up.
Right. And so they did a good job selling the fact that she didn't deserve to be there. But in our system, a delegate makes your vote. You don't make it. You vote for the delegate. And much like this deal here now, the Electoral College, we send those delegates to represent us. I mean, no, I would dare for anybody to find a politician here that represents me since my wife died. That was the one that represented me. You know what I mean? It just doesn't exist. And I accept that and run a business anyway. So for the average Joe, by the time they feel all of this, they're not going to know what it is anyway, because their life's already pretty damn difficult.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't have a solution. I mean, I've watched the Democratic Party here go from the party in charge down to zero. And the party that's now in charge basically takes a crap on anyone that's poor. I mean, they literally take a crap on. We're running English-like policies, you know, where we're going to have child labor coming in the next year or two, much like Iowa. I mean, I know it's coming because I see it everywhere else. But I mean, I don't know. Is now the point that I just go, I'm an old man. I just need to let these young people take care of the stupid shit they just did to themselves. I mean, I believe we're there. I spent a decade trying to do this. I'm not sure I got anywhere at this point.
To be honest with you, I think you can blame that entire generation of Bitcoin idiots. Those bros probably showed up to vote with their friends and family.
Well, or the Democratic Party has to get back to the core values of taking care of the working class, and they don't. I mean, we have to look at this and go, look, there's a reason all these people voted for basically a carnival guy. You don't get to be mad at the clown. Yeah. Because you went to the carnival. Like, he's never made himself to be anything but a clown. He doesn't care the hair, the stupid orange makeup and everything. He has shown us who he is. And so if you're desperate enough that you believe that's your only way out, that's what needs to be studied. But if you need $1.5 billion to run an election, how do you focus on poor people? So it used to be unions brought poor people's votes forward. And we got rid of unions because people that weren't in unions were jealous of the wages union members made. I mean, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy at every step. And now, you know, climate change is going to take a back seat to everything. I don't know. I mean, holy shit, that's the part that concerns me, but I don't have any grandkids. I mean, honestly, you know, you go, okay, I mean, you guys did this to yourselves.
We had a good run.
Yeah, I mean, how many times can I keep it? And I really mean this, and I'm not a poor me, this. If everyone else is going to look out for themselves, maybe I need to look out for myself. I mean, it's sad, but that's how I feel about the whole thing this morning. I mean,
yeah, there is a selfish part of me where it's like, I did not reproduce. I really don't have any skin in this game. Right. The companies that I work on there run fine, and they've always been in Republican-held cities because of Oklahoma. So it's not going to affect me in the way that business runs, but it's still somewhere slightly tragic to realize that all the people that I work with, I do not know what they say once I get up from the table and leave. Is that when they're like, oh shit, these damn immigrants?
actually, now you do know.
Yeah.
Actually, now, so the question from my end is, and everybody go, "Oh man, you're being dramatic," and I go, "No, I watched it. He was just in power 4 years ago, and Sleepy Joe beat him because people were so frustrated and scared with his behavior. Yeah. And man, now they got the House, the Senate, and the presidency. I mean,
yeah." I think last time he was in, there was one portion of it that was still under the Democrats, right. Correct? Yeah.
But it's but it's not vindictive Donald with cognitive decline. I mean, that deal getting into the dump truck, that's cognitive decline, and he's now going to be the next president. So we got to deal with the reality if that's what we're going to deal with. And then that little scumbag JD Vance will be just hanging out in the background waiting for him to die. So let's take a positive spin. Okay. Yesterday was a monumental day. We elected our first felon as president of the United States. We have come so far in criminal justice and the way we feel about people committing crimes that we've elected our first convicted felon.
It's the land of second chances, okay?
There you go. I mean, that's what we need to write. That's the deal we need to write. Is that it's the land of second chances, and you may as well have some fun with this whole thing because it's going to happen. Yeah. And I hate to be that guy that says that, but it's obviously happening. I mean, she is 50 points down. She's not coming back. Yeah. I mean, he would have to literally lose like every single vote from here on out, but. She made a good run and it was close and she's a good quality candidate, which is really, man, we're just going to have to admit America's what everybody says America
is. The funny part is I was looking through the list of all the other countries that have already had female leaders. Yeah. And it's quite a few, Sean.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Well,
I think it's like a small list. That's why you guys never make it.
Yeah. All of our compadres have moved forward. I don't know. I don't have an answer to it. So when my wife ran for lieutenant governor here in Oklahoma, we would be down in the southern part of the state, and it's obviously not just rednecks down there, but they would say, "Oh, the Bible says a woman should not seek public office. Why are you running for office?"
Does the Bible say that?
Well, it's just some version of it, And she'd go, "Well, that was written 2,000 years ago when women were just at home and there was no birth control.
And they were just treated like property, weren't they?"
Yeah, traded off and given off. I mean, so look, the positive end to all of this thing is the stupid people are going to be in charge. Yeah. The bad part of this whole thing is the stupid people are going to be in charge, and Christian nationalism is now here for the next 4 years. The real thing. So I would be a little nervous if I was black or brown. I'd be a little more nervous if I was gay. I'd be a little more nervous if I was lesbian. And I think we are going to feel the vengeance of women.
Yep.
Yeah, because they're a big enough. Because even the women that voted for him are going to lie and say they didn't.
Oh, for sure. Nobody's going to accept or admit that. The weird part was there was one, I don't know which one I was watching, one of your liberal media outlets, Sean, where they asked, where everybody who said that Trump was better for the economy, better on international diplomacy, all of that. All of them said Trump was better, but the one thing where they said she was better was when they asked them, would you leave your child with Trump or Kamala Harris? Yeah. Right. That time they said her, which is sort of very, I don't know.
Telling. It's telling. Well, I mean, we're stuck with him and the coke addict son, and then the other son that nobody wants to admit they have, and then the daughter. Yeah, I mean, my God, the guy hates immigrants, but he married two to do his dirty work for him. I mean, Jesus. But I don't know, man. I once again, you and I will be just fine. And I grew up in an era where we were trying to look out for the less fortunate, and I just think that era may have just ended. And I mean,
I don't think it exists, Sean, anymore. Say for instance, before when I used to meet with guys who started tech companies,
right?
they would always ask me when I'm raising funds for them to kind of distribute some of their initial shares where the company is not even worth anything to each and every employee we hire initially.
Right.
And recently I was talking to someone and we are doing like a huge capital raise for him. And I was asking him about basically their share table, because I wanted to see how many employees are there and how many shares each of them own. And he gave me a share table which had two names. It was just him and his business partner, the co-founder, and that's it. I was like, okay, where is all the 3 years these guys worked with like bare minimum pay to just help you get this shit off the ground? Where are their shares? And he was like, oh no, we didn't issue any for them. And I was like, okay, maybe maybe that era of taking care of people around you doesn't exist anymore. Now it's more of that super individualistic shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna watch later today and just see what what our former allies have to say about this crazy stuff.
Oh, you should know that somebody from here has already tweeted his best wishes to his best friend.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah. Well, man, who I feel for probably more than anybody is poor Ukraine. If I was all those folks, I'd be moving right now.
Yeah.
Run for your life, because that's going to be the first thing. That's going to be the first thing cut off for his other buddy. Yeah, it's just weird. Look, I'm sure so tomorrow night I'm going to go see a show about Tina Turner up in Stillwater, and my life will continue just fine. I mean, I hate to do it, but that's the deal. We must move on and see who do the Democrats have to run next time? Because it was Sleepy Joe. I mean, really and truly, this thing was a cluster from the start. And they just stuck to their same message of anger, whiteness, and anti-immigrant shit. So, your visa stuff ain't changing anytime soon.
Oh, dude, those wait lists are still like 2-3 years of waiting. It's just going to be that way.
Crazy, brother. All right, well, let's get some rest. And look, 266, 219, there's no comeback. I mean, the news is still going to go for hours, but there's no comeback.
I'm not even editing this. I'm just putting it up once.
There's no reason to. I'd put it up right now so we get it up. Oh yeah, before any other ones. Look, at the end of the day, people vote their pocketbooks. Every election, it's about the economy. Stupid. That is literally the world's oldest comment. Yeah. So, with globalization, and JBS is what I was going to talk about earlier. This meat company from Brazil that bought a whole bunch of the meat companies up here. China owns a bunch of them. They're not even American owned where anybody has any control anymore. I mean, they're just not. And if they get to corner the market, and neither the Democrats nor the Republicans, because Joe Biden has been in office for 4 years, they could have broken these companies up and didn't do shit. So there is some blame to go. There just is. Yeah. And if you want middle and lower class people to vote for you, got to give them something.
Yeah.
Cool, Big Daddy?
Fuck yeah.
I'm going to go make some breakfast and go back to bed. All right, my friend.
All right.
Tell your family I said hello. All right. We'll get through it just like we do everything else, buddy.
Oh, hell yeah. Later.
See ya. Bye.